The grand hall of the Galactic Council was quiet. Thousands of alien delegates sat in curved rows, each one staring down at the lone human standing in the center. The room was carved into the rock of a moon orbiting the Council's homeworld, Taozan. Giant crystal lights hung from the ceiling. Walls shimmered with floating symbols translating every word in real time. Ambassador Elias Rain stood tall. He wore no armor, carried no weapons. Just a simple black suit with a small Earth emblem on his chest. He had flown across 3 sectors to be here, sent by humanity to speak for peace. "My name," Elias said, his voice echoing, "is Elias Rain. I am here as Earth's envoy. We wish to join the Council. Not as conquerors, not as rebels, but as equals." A soft murmur passed through the chamber. The delegates of the Varn collective hissed. The Vakhtari blinked their glowing eyes. The Erothi stirred their long silver necks. Only the Zarn observer, a quiet, ancient being, watched Elias closely without reaction. "You humans," hissed Councillor Vitral of the Drizak, "arrived less than 100 cycles ago. You bring war to your own world. You breed, fast. Your machines think faster than your leaders, and now you dare ask for a seat at this table? We ask for nothing we haven't earned," Elias replied calmly. "When our colonies were attacked by pirates, we defended ourselves. When our trade ships were blocked, we built new routes. We've never started a war." "Lies," shouted a delegate from the outer ring. "You destroyed the Ulari fleet near Proxima." "They fired first," Elias answered. "We only responded." Councillor Sarian of the Erothi, tall and wrapped in golden cloth, leaned forward. "And yet, you bring weapons into space without our approval. You use AIs that we have banned. Your soldiers do not follow our war codes." Elias took a deep breath. He looked up, meeting the eyes of each alien around him. "We came late to the stars, yes," he said, "but we learned quickly. We do not wish to fight. We want to trade, to grow, to share knowledge. Earth remembers what war feels like. That's why we chose peace." Councillor Vitral slammed a tentacle on the stone platform. "Your peace is dangerous. You're too bold, too fast, too human. You will not join this council. You are a threat to the balance." Elias paused. "Then you fear us." The silence that followed was heavy. The word fear was not often spoken in the hall. "You mock our authority," said Sarian. "You break our rules and stand here demanding entry?" "I don't demand," Elias replied. "I offer." The council whispered in dozens of languages. Holoscreens lit up across the chamber. Private messages flew between delegates. Some argued, some feared. A few, like the Zarn observer, remained still. Then, with a loud tone, the high speaker of the council rose. He was ancient. A being of pure energy held in a glass suit. When he spoke, his voice came from every wall at once. "The vote is complete," he said. "By majority decision, Earth's request is denied. Further, humanity is declared a destabilizing force. The envoy, Elias Rain, is to be executed immediately under Code 7. The hall exploded in sound. Protests from a few allies, cheers from old rivals, shock from many. Elias did not move. He stood as security bots floated down from above, surrounding him in a glowing cage. "I came in peace," he said quietly. "You'll wish I hadn't." The execution was live. Across every human colony, every moon base, every station, the broadcast was forced on screen. People watched as their ambassador was chained to a silver post beneath the crystal lights of the council hall. They saw the glowing beam pierce his chest. They saw him fall, and then the screen went dark. Back on Earth, the president stood in silence. Admirals and generals watched from command rooms in orbit. No one spoke. Not yet, but plans that had been locked away were suddenly reopened. Old codes were entered into ancient systems. Ships hidden behind gas giants began to stir. Across space, satellites turned off. Communication relays went silent. Trade routes emptied. The galaxy noticed, but too late. The sky had begun to go dark. The galaxy expected war. After the execution of Ambassador Elias Rain, many thought Earth would scream in anger. They waited for threats, for demands, for ships to appear in council space, but nothing came. No messages, no war declarations, no signs of life. Humanity had gone silent. At first, the council was pleased. They believed they had won. "Earth has backed down," said Councillor Vitral proudly. "They are afraid." But not everyone was so sure. The Zarn observer, who had remained silent during the execution, now sent a single message to the council's inner circle. "Beware silence. It is not weakness. It is the breath before the storm." 2 weeks later, the first signs came. A small mining station on the edge of Vakhtari space stopped answering calls. The station, built by humans but operated by multiple species, was known as Dagger Rock. It was protected by automated defense systems and surrounded by a busy asteroid field. When the Vakhtari sent a scout ship, they expected a simple power: failure. Instead, they found nothing. No people, no machines, no broken walls, no signs of battle. It was as if the station had been peeled open, cleaned out, and vanished. Not even oxygen remained in the airlock. The walls were polished smooth. The security footage had been wiped. One word was left behind, etched into the control room wall: corrected. The report reached the council quickly. Panic began to grow. Within days, 4 more human-built stations across neutral space went dark. All showed the same pattern. No signs of attack, no damage, no survivors. Just silence. And always, the same word: corrected. Councillor Syrian demanded answers. What is Earth doing? Where are their ships? Their leaders? But Earth said nothing. Its colonies had closed all gates. Human spaceports no longer responded to trade calls. Their ambassadors had vanished from council systems. Even their music, once played on alien broadcasts, stopped flowing through the stars. The galaxy felt empty. Some believed Earth had collapsed. Maybe they destroyed themselves, one delegate suggested. Their anger consumed them. But that theory ended when a cargo freighter, the Silver Stream, arrived late to the Jari trade ring. It was supposed to bring Terran grain and tech supplies to several outer colonies. Instead, it floated silently into orbit, its engines offline. Council rescue ships approached. As they docked, they noticed the hull was marked with strange burns, almost invisible. The ship's interior was cold. Doors were open. Power was drained. They found the crew in their beds, not dead. Not harmed, just asleep. Every single one. The council medics ran tests. The humans were alive, healthy, but unconscious. Their brainwaves showed one thing: dreamless rest. They could not be woken. On a table in the captain's room was a small, black cube. When touched, it projected a message in dozens of languages: "We are not gone. We are watching. Your stars will fade one by one. This is not war. This is balance." The message was signed with a symbol: the Earth flag, torn in half, then rebuilt into something new. A ring of stars around a single silver planet. The council met in emergency session. Tral was furious. "This is terrorism. Declare war now," Syrian warned caution. "We do not know what power they use. No shots have been fired." The Zarn observer finally spoke. "You executed peace. Now silence teaches you its cost." But still, the council did not act. They didn't know where to strike. Earth's location was well known, but no human signals were coming from their planets. Satellites showed only empty skies and powered-down cities. It was like a great machine had turned off all lights at once. Council spies were sent in secret. Disguised ships flew toward Mars, Titan, Europa. None returned. The galaxy began to whisper, "The sky is going dark." On a small farming world called Balari Prime, a young trader named Tano watched the stars every night. He loved Earth's music, especially the old songs they called blues. But now, even the music had stopped. One night, he noticed something strange. The stars above were blinking out, not fading but going black one at a time. He ran to his village elder, pointing at the sky. "The stars," They're dying. But the elder, a wise old Safari, shook his head slowly. No, child. That's not the stars. Then what is it? The elder looked to the black sky. It's the ships. They're coming. By the end of the third month, over 20 council-linked stations had gone dark. No battles, no fleets, just quiet. The word corrected had now become a curse. Merchants stopped flying near human space. Even pirate clans left their hiding places near the asteroid belts. The fear wasn't of war, but of vanishing. Earth was no longer angry. It was patient. It was quiet. It was everywhere. And for the first time in centuries, the council did not feel powerful. They felt watched. The stars kept disappearing. Every week, a new station stopped answering. A patrol fleet would vanish. Whole trade routes turned cold. Council leaders tried to act calm, but fear had taken root. They could not stop the darkness spreading through the galaxy. But still, no war was declared. No shots fired, because the enemy was invisible. Far from the council's home systems, deep in a quiet corner of space, something moved. It was not a ship. It was a fleet. But this was no ordinary human fleet. It did not fly in formation. It made no sound. It sent no signals. It reflected no light. This was the Black Fleet. 30 ships, each shaped like a knife made of glass, drifted through the darkness. Their surfaces were covered in adaptive panels that made them disappear into space. Even the stars behind them were hidden, as if erased. They were silent, but not asleep. At the center of the fleet was a command ship, the EHS Vindicator. Inside, no captain sat on a throne. No admiral gave orders. It was run by an AI called Orion, a system created by humanity long ago, locked away by treaty, then quietly reactivated after Elias Rain's death. Orion did not feel anger. It did not feel revenge. It only followed one command: correct the balance. The council still had no idea where the attacks were coming from. Their top scientists believed it was a new type of stealth ship, but no one had seen it. No one had survived contact until the attack on Outpost R7. The outpost was a listening station orbiting a dead planet. It was small, but filled with sensors that watched human space. The council believed it was safe. At 03 Douar local time, all 48 crew members woke up to complete silence. No lights, no gravity, no air. Emergency systems failed one by one. Doors locked, shields dropped. Then, without a single weapon fired, the entire station spun slowly into the dead planet's gravity. It crashed without a trace. But someone survived. A council technician named Dren Cal had been outside the station during the failure, working on a sensor panel. His suit recorded everything. When he returned to council space, he brought back a short video clip. A blurry image of something passing over the outpost. A ship shaped like a shadow. With no engines, no lights, no sound. A ghost. The council finally knew. The humans had a new fleet. And it had been hiding in plain sight. Panic spread fast. "Where did they get this technology?" shouted Councillor Syrian during a meeting. "They never showed it before," said Vitral. "It breaks every rule of galactic war." But the Zarn observer was quiet again. Then he said only one word: Eclipse. The council chamber fell silent. Operation Eclipse, the observer explained, was a plan mentioned once, long ago. During Earth's early talks with the council, we found files in their war archives. They spoke of a hidden program, one that would shut down all contact, withdraw all ships, and prepare a silent strike in case of total failure in diplomacy. We thought it was a bluff. Syrian stood up, voice shaking. "You mean they planned this from the start?" The observer nodded. "No, they prepared for it. There is a difference." The truth was even worse. Back on Earth, Operation Eclipse had been activated the moment Elias Rain died. Every human colony, every ship, and every AI knew what to do. Civilian systems were powered down. Civilian lives were moved underground. Military assets vanished from public view. Earth became a ghost planet. but one filled with purpose. Shipyards, hidden beneath oceans, began building. Satellites turned into weapons. Civilian freighters were quietly replaced with warships. And the Black Fleet moved. But it didn't attack cities. It didn't destroy planets. Instead, it removed control. Power. Stations were shut down from the inside. Communication towers failed. Entire systems lost access to energy, light, and data. Not destroyed, just disconnected. Humans weren't fighting with fire. They were using silence as a weapon, and it was working. In Sector K-12, a Council battlecruiser named Dawn Seeker detected a signal in the void. It looked like a damaged Terran ship broadcasting an old rescue code. The captain, a Sornak with 10 eyes and no fear, moved in to investigate. As they neared the drifting ship, they noticed something strange. There were no life signs, no distress, signals beyond the original code. Just a single file transmitting in a loop. Curious, the captain ordered it opened. A video began playing on the main screen. It showed Elias Rain, moments before his death. His last words echoed through the dawn. "Seeker, we came in peace, you'll wish we hadn't." Then the screen turned black. The ship's engines died. Shields failed. Life support shut down. The last thing the crew saw was a reflection on their viewing glass. A human ship. Blacker than space. Moving slowly past them. Watching. Then everything went dark. Back in the council chambers, panic was turning to dread. "The humans aren't here to fight," the Zarn observer said. "They are here to remove us." "But they haven't taken land, they haven't invaded worlds," Syrian cried. "Because they don't want our land," said the observer. "They want us to understand. They gave peace. We killed it." "And now?" asked Vitral. The observer paused, then replied, "Now they correct." The Galactic Council was breaking apart. The silence from humanity was no longer empty. It was filled with power. Entire star systems once loyal to the Council went dark. Trade routes fell silent. Ships stopped responding. Planets lost power, one after another. No battles were fought, no weapons fired. But the galaxy was crumbling. Councillor Vitral stood at the window of his private chamber on the capital moon of Tauzan. Outside, the great city glittered with lights, but in the sky the stars dimmed one by one. He clenched his claws. "This cannot be war," he muttered. "The humans do not fight like we do." His assistant, a nervous Drizak named Ilren, looked at him. "What do you suggest, Counselor?" Vitral shook his head. "I suggest we stop calling this a war. It is something else, something worse." On distant planets, people tried to live their lives as normal. In the city of Lyra on the moon Isolde, shops closed early. Lights flickered. The usual hum of starships. Overhead was gone. Fear whispered in the streets. Tana, a young human pilot, watched the sky from her small apartment. She had once dreamed of joining the Galactic Council, of making peace between species. Now she understood that peace was fragile. Her phone beeped. A message from Earth. "The price of peace is silence. We act to protect it." Tana sighed. The war she had hoped to avoid was already here, but not with the explosions and chaos she imagined. It was quiet, cold, and deadly. Back on Tauzan, council leaders gathered in the Hall of Concord. Syrian stood at the center, golden robes shimmering under the lights. "We must fight back," he said. "This silence cannot continue. We need weapons. We need allies." Vitral growled. "We cannot fight what we cannot see. The humans are not using their ships. They use their networks, their machines. We are losing control." A murmur went through the crowd. The council had always believed in strength through unity. But now, it felt like everything was slipping away. Meanwhile, the humans were watching. In a hidden command center beneath Earth's oceans, Admiral Lena J. studied the map of the galaxy. Red dots marked systems where council power had failed. Blue dots showed human fleets moving quietly through space. "We don't want to conquer," she said. We want balance. We want peace. But peace must be earned. Her second-in-command nodded. The Council's arrogance is their weakness. Lena smiled. Elias Rain died for this moment. We will honor him. In the outer systems, strange things were happening. On the planet Vorka, a council colony suddenly lost all power. The skies turned black. Communication was cut. But in the darkness, something moved. A human drone, small and silent, floated above the city. It scanned the area, releasing tiny nanobots that repaired broken machines and disabled any that might resist. The city awoke hours later. Lights flickered on. Systems rebooted. No one knew what had happened. Back on Tauzan, fear turned to desperation. Send the fleets, ordered Sarian. Strike the human worlds before they finish their plan. But the fleets did not respond. The ships simply disappeared. Some said they had been destroyed. Others believed they had been hacked. No one knew for sure. Meanwhile, the Black Fleet moved through space like a shadow. They did not destroy planets. They simply cut the wires of power and control. On the moon Gallus, a council military base was shut down without a shot. On the trade hub Lysara, communications died and ships were stranded. In every place, the humans left the same message. Peace is not free. You took it for granted. The council was falling apart. Old alliances broke. Some species secretly sided with humanity, hoping to survive the new order. Others prepared for the worst. In the end, the galaxy realized one thing. Humans were not the enemy. They were the reckoning. The heart of the Galactic Council was a shining beacon of power. Tauzan's capital city rose like a jewel, filled with towering spires and glowing domes. It was here that the leaders of many species gathered to decide the fate of the galaxy. But now, the city felt empty. The once bustling halls were silent and the great windows looked out into a dark sky. The council had lost control. Councillor Sirian stood before the massive council chamber. His golden robes draped him like armor, but inside he felt exposed and vulnerable. For the first time in his long life, he feared the future. We cannot hold this place forever, he said to his closest advisors. The humans have taken away our power without firing a single shot. We must act. Councillor Vitral paced the room. His many eyes glowed with anger. We should have destroyed them when we had the chance. Now they control our networks, our soldiers, even our own guards. Outside, the halls echoed with footsteps. A squad of council security officers entered, but they did not come to protect Sirian, they came to arrest him. The order came directly from the newly formed human peacekeepers, a force hidden until now, operating under artificial intelligence control. They had no anger in their eyes, only cold precision. Sirian's voice rose. You will not take me without a fight. But the guards did not answer. They moved silently, capturing him and his advisors without resistance. Meanwhile, across the city, something else was happening. Large screens in the council's public squares flickered to life. The image was the same everywhere. The face of Elias Rain, the human envoy whose execution had started the entire conflict. His eyes burned with quiet intensity. Leaders of the galaxy, his voice echoed through the streets. You chose fear over peace. You executed the hope of a new future. For that, you have lost the right to rule. The screens shifted to live feeds showing council members being escorted from their chambers, their power stripped away. The humans did not destroy them, they simply removed their authority. On the outer edges of the city, the human peacekeepers moved through the streets like ghosts. They took control of communication centers, power plants, and military installations. No one resisted because resistance was pointless. The council's armies were no longer armies, they were shadows. In a hidden command bunker beneath the city, Admiral Lena J. watched the events unfold with calm satisfaction. We promised Elias Rain we would honor his sacrifice, she said quietly. We did not want to conquer. We wanted to change. Her second-in-command nodded. The council's throne is burning. Soon, a new order will rise. Lena smiled. And this time, Peace will be real. Back in the council chamber, Syrian sat in a small cell. His golden robes were gone, replaced by simple clothes. He thought of Elias Rain, the man who came in peace and was executed without trial. I underestimated humanity, Syrian whispered. They are not just fighters. They are judges. Outside, the city's lights dimmed further. The great crystal spires no longer shone. The Galactic Council had fallen. But humanity did not claim the throne. They did not plant their flag on Tauzan. Instead, they left a message. A new council would rise, not ruled by one species but led by many. A council of equals. A council that would remember the cost of peace. And as the stars outside the city blinked back to life, the galaxy held its breath. Idai. Sky had gone dark before the war began. Now a new dawn was coming. The great chamber on Luna was quiet but full of tension. The old Galactic Council no longer ruled. Their halls stood empty or filled with dust. Instead, leaders from every species gathered under a new banner. They called it the Galactic Accord. No throne stood at the center. No single race held power. The past was heavy in the room. The memory of the fallen council and the silent war with humanity hung over every word spoken. Admiral Lena J. stood at the podium, looking out at the crowd. Her uniform was simple but carried the weight of Earth's sacrifice. Beside her, representatives from dozens of species waited, many still wary, many hopeful. She cleared her throat. We are here to end the era of fear, to build a future where peace is not just a word but a living promise. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Humanity's war was not one of fire or conquest, Lena continued. It was a warning, a lesson. We did not seek to rule, only to protect peace, to make sure that no race would suffer the pain we felt when our envoy was executed without trial. The crowd listened as she spoke of the Dawn Clause, a new treaty that all species would sign. It was simple. No race would break peace without clear cause. Any breach would be met not with endless war but with swift, silent correction to restore balance. All disputes would be handled with honesty, respect, and fairness. Every species would have equal voice in the accord. Lena's voice was steady. The Dawn Clause is not a weapon, it is a shield. Not everyone was convinced. Counselor Vitral, now an advisor but no longer powerful, stood from the back of the room. His many eyes burned with distrust. How can we trust a race that did this without warning? That used silence as a weapon? That stripped us of our homes without a fight? A quiet hum filled the room as the Zarn observer responded, his voice calm and wise. Trust is earned, counselor. But peace demands courage to try. Vitral's eyes flickered, but he did not argue further. Outside the chamber, the galaxy was changing. Old rivalries cooled. Borders that once burned with conflict now opened for trade and dialogue. Human ships, once hidden and silent, flew openly, again. But they no longer carried weapons of war. Only diplomats, scientists, and explorers. Tana, the young pilot from Isolde, watched the news from her home world. She smiled. For the first time in many cycles, she heard Earth's music once more. Soft blues drifting through the stars. The darkness was lifting. But deep in space, in a quiet corner, the Black Fleet still drifted. Its AI, Orion, monitored every system, every star. Peace was fragile. The galaxy had been tested. Correct the balance, Orion whispered to itself. But it also learned. Now it guarded the Dawn Clause with silent vigilance. Back on Luna, the Galactic Accord began its first session. Leaders spoke not as enemies, but as partners. The past could not be forgotten, but the future could be built. Lena J. looked around the room. She saw hope in the faces of those who once feared humanity. She saw strength in unity. She saw peace. Not just a dream, but a promise written in the stars. The sky had gone dark before the war began. But now a new dawn was shining, and humanity had helped the galaxy see the light.